Live with you guys at Super Bowl Media Row. It's been awesome over the last week, and we've got Patrick Kerney and Tom Lakovic with us right here, former defensive end for the Seattle Seahawks. Very big dude. I mean, I'm a big guy too, and I was staring you. I had to look up a little bit to you, my man. But excited to have you both with us today and talk a little bit about, obviously, the Super Bowl this weekend with your former team, with the Seahawks, and a little bit of what you guys doing with Better Brain. So how's it been going so far over the last couple of days, and what do you guys how's the vibes today? How you feeling?
It's been fantastic. Gotten talking to a lot of people about Better Brain, talking to a lot of people about the Seahawks, two of my favorite topics, so it's been great.
Absolutely. All right, we'll start with the game first, a little bit of some football stuff, and then we'll get to the more important aspect of this. But what has it been like looking at your team this year? Obviously, one of the best defenses in the NFL as a former Defensive Player of the Year. I know that probably, gets you out of bed in the morning, makes you feeling good about stuff. But just what do you think about this team as a whole right now? They're obviously going to be fantastic on Sunday. Hopefully get the dub for you. But what do you think about this team as a whole this season?
Yeah, there's a saying, and Dan Quinn, the Commanders head coach, said to me when I was defensive lineman in Seattle, he said, for about all but 8 teams, the season doesn't start till after Thanksgiving.
Sure.
And for the Seahawks, that has definitely been the case where they've been that team that has continued to ascend, and particularly in the playoffs with their routing of the 49ers and the defeat of the Rams team, which I think is the second best team in the NFL.
I don't disagree. Yeah.
That just says there's a great trend there, and I think it's probably a reason why they're a favorite to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. As a defensive guy, you've also had to enjoy just watching how aggressive and downhill and just smart that defensive at Mike McDonald bringing that system into town. I mean, it took a year to kind of get it really seeing it week to week. But as you can see, the number one team in the NFC, it really shows every single week.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're doing it with veteran talent too. We've got 3 defensive linemen in double-digit years.
Sure.
And DeMarcus Lawrence seems to have found the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
And combining that with some of these young studs, Witherspoon and Hall and all these guys who are getting after the quarterback, making big plays all over the field, playing with speed, playing with ferocity. It just it really gets you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. As a defensive end, and then we'll jump and talk about some Better Brain stuff. But who's your favorite player right now in the NFL to watch? You don't have to be a defensive end, but I would assume maybe somebody on the defensive line, like somebody that you just can really look at and go, I really like the way he plays. The game's changed quite a bit, obviously, and just the speed and aggression, especially on the defensive line, and the way you've got 3-4s versus 4-3s and all those outside linebackers, sometimes hand in the dirt, sometimes standing up straight. Is there somebody that you go, yeah, I really like watching that guy play?
Well, I guess because of my bias towards watching the Seahawks, I've really enjoyed watching DeMarcus Lawrence play this year.
Yeah, sure.
Like I said, a double-digit guy in his 11th year, playing like he's found the fountain of youth, and playing nasty, playing with speed, and causing plays to happen all over the field. Not just a sack guy who's stuffing the run, stripping running backs and quarterbacks alike, causing interceptions that don't show up on the stat sheet.
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed watching his resurrection this year.
Well, and it's cool too to have a player like that as well that had, like you said, maybe not the best start of his career, had a good beginning part of his career, but to get that fountain of youth to come to a championship pedigree system and really flourish is probably cool too. So, all right, so let's pivot. Let's talk a little bit about how you guys met. And what you guys are going to be doing with Better Brain. I know that you want to talk a little bit about just what the company is and the importance of everything to do with brain health in the NFL right now.
Yeah, so why don't I start real quick, and then Patrick can talk about how he got involved. But we set up this company and this mission called Better Brain.
Yeah.
With a really simple idea, which is to get as much of the good science that exists in ways that we can improve our brain health and really reduce the chances that any of us ever get Alzheimer's or dementia to as many people as quickly as possible. So that is the basic idea. And Patrick and I got connected about a year ago, and then
it was a mutual friend, and it was some time ago. I took a few months to read all the research and really grow confident in the fact that this is a real thing.
Sure.
And from a societal standpoint, the fact that about half of dementia cases can probably be prevented is just incredible. I fortunately have not had any firsthand family experience, but have had some close friends with firsthand experience with parents with cognitive decline, and it's brutal, absolutely brutal. And then you pair that with the fact that I was a contact sport athlete for 22 years. I have a lot of great friends, former teammates, who are Mike linebackers and fullbacks and downhill safeties and guys that they weren't just hitting, they were colliding for a living.
Yeah.
And the long-term fear that breeds when you hear some of the terrible stories of Mike Webster and Dave Dorson and some of these guys who come to tragic ends, the fact that there is now science out there and a process out there that says you've got control to avoid an end like that. To those of us who, frankly and reasonably, have some trepidation about what exact toll was taken on our brains.
I heard a great interview with George Kittle last year, and it's the best description, because I didn't play football. I played a lot of other sports, but didn't play football. And he described like playing football and this type of contact sport as he is in a car accident every single week, which is like for people that don't play it, you can't really quant like what it feels like to have that type of contact on your body every single weekend. And I was like, oh my God, that's the best description of what you guys put your bodies through week after week. Obviously, it's an incredible game and we all love it, but like there is that aspect of it that's just incredibly dangerous on a week-to-week basis from your entire body, but unfortunately, or most importantly, with your brain.
Yeah, it is outsized compensation for outsized risk.
Yeah,
and we sign on for that. We understand it. Perhaps with a little more bravado at age 22 than a more reasonable 49-year-old would have.
Right.
But nonetheless, it's something I would do 100 times over. Knowing everything I know now, I'm still fine with what I did. I had 11 surgeries over 11 years.
Wow.
All worth it.
Yeah.
All absolutely worth it. And the fact now that I can take action to reduce any risk and any risk realized on my brain is just, it's a second lease on life.
Do you think that the NFL right now, with the obvious importance of this research and more science coming out about all the different CTE, different types of things, the onset dimension, things like that, do you think that they're doing a good enough job of having that be a point of emphasis, not only for the NFL, but the grassroots aspect? Because you got to get some of these kids in the Pop Warner systems understanding, maybe not that level of it, right? But getting them to the point of, how to tackle, how to make sure that they're taking their neck and their head out of those situations. Do you think that the NFL is doing a good enough job at that on the NFL level and at the lower level?
Yeah, at the NFL level, no matter how you feel about the kickoff rules, those were put in place for head health. The targeting stuff, there is sincere effort.
Sure.
And it's, I guess, all you can really ask. There's trial and error. It's a violent game.
Yeah.
And so it can't go away, but there's sincere effort to reduce the risk as much as possible in the type of game that it is. But talking about the Pop Warner, the high school level, the NFL is very cognizant of the reduction in the pipeline that happened kind of through the mid-10s when mom was taking Junior off the football field because she was hearing some of these horror stories.
Yeah.
And so it's not only educating these young players, but educating these coaches of these young players,
right,
and teaching them that maybe the old Oklahoma drill isn't the best thing to develop a football player.
Right.
That you don't need to be hitting all the time. That there is a cognitive aspect to this game where you can make just as much progress, working from the neck up as you can from the neck down.
Nice. What is the one thing that you want to accomplish by working with Better Brain? And like, I know there's a lot of things that you want to accomplish, but like the overall, if someone watches this and they walk away, like what is the one thing that you want them to take away from this and go, yeah, that feels like something that lands with me and I want to help continue to spread the good information about this?
I've gotten a handful of former teammates to go through the Better Brain process, and they have shared the same level of elation that I had when I first heard about it and went through the process. And I want that to spread throughout the NFL alumni base and into the current player base, to grow security and confidence in being able to continue to love the sport that was so good to them or is being so good to them, and then that being a model for society. To say these guys are putting their bodies on the line like this, and they're doing so with confidence because they understand they can mitigate that risk. I'm going to do the same for myself. I'm going to be a man who I'm going to go through the process as a man.
Yeah.
And like we have trouble as men, going to see the doctor, going to see the dentist, all this stuff. We don't like it. But when you start seeing the people you cheer on Sundays willing to go through this process for their long-term benefit, it can inspire you and hopefully put a real dent in society's aversion to addressing cognitive health.
It's awesome, man. And I think the cool thing too is obviously with mental health being such a massive importance and as a whole, but also right now, but this is just another level of that, to take it seriously and also have people like yourself that are trying to get more and more people involved to advocate for that as well. Just because, again, like I think that the players that are playing right now, and I know you know this now as someone who played, that is looking back on yourself, but when you were 22, if you had somebody giving you this information, because information is power at this point, so I know we got to get out of here soon, but anything else that you guys want to say about Better Brain or about the game this weekend or anything like that before we wrap this up?
So betterbrain.com.
Yeah.
Free.
That's always good.
Our base offering, totally free, best science you can find, a lot of tools. And there's just a lot more good news than most people realize. I will leave it to my friend here for the prediction.
I've said 28-17 Hawks. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm biased.
Yeah, sure. But
so-
my Patriots friend is over there, so I'll ignore this. But I do think the Hawks win too. So
Awesome.
yeah, betterbrain.com. Go check it out, guys. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Have a fantastic rest of the week.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Daniel.
you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Take it easy.